Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another Bibi and Peter Show where we put the fun back into English learning. And today we are talking about something quite interesting,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
it has to do with trauma. And
Oh,
no, not the
nice.
trauma that I experienced with Peter, because it is a very traumatic experience
Bibi,
managing Peter,
I'm
handling
right here.
Peter.
I'm right here, Bibi. I'm
I
right
know
here,
you
Bibi.
are, but they
I'm
say
so,
talk about your problems, so here I am. I'm
but not
I'm
in front,
venting.
but not in front of your problem. You,
Well, I'm
s-
just
yeah.
relating it to when they hear the word trauma, everyone thinks, "Oh my God, here we go. Baby's
Why
suffering,"
would I? Why would I call you trauma, Bibi? I'm such a great person. I'm such a great
Ugh.
person.
Oh wow, you're
Um,
just a ray of sunshine, aren't you? Yeah? Okay.
I don't cause
No.
trauma to a fly.
Oh,
Anyways,
t-
we
you know
we
what?
we
Let's
are
not get into that because we will not get to this topic, and I'm very excited about this topic. It's about language trauma, right? So, Peter,
language trauma. Yes.
enlighten us. What is language trauma? Because you're very well versed with trauma and causing trauma, right? So, so explain to us
You're
what
terrible,
what
baby,
is
terrible.
language trauma?
It's terrible. Anyways, okay, so from that, sorry guys. Excuse
Uh-huh.
BB, that happens, okay? It's just BB being herself.
It's the
Anyways,
effects of the trauma. I'm sorry.
it is, anyways, I wanted to talk to you guys about this. This is part of the Connection Before Perfection series on language trauma. Because I'm dealing with it quite often, coaching people and helping them with their job interviews and public speaking and, language blocks. And
Mhm.
language trauma seems to kind of come up quite frequently. So we just want to kind of talk about it and just kind of, kind of like just unbox this whole thing that so many
Okay,
people
but
suffer
if
with.
for someone who's not understanding what language trauma is, like, how would you explain it in very simple terms? What is language trauma?
I would say language trauma is when the body has a negative effect or a negative reaction
Like
towards
a
a certain
trigger,
language. Yeah,
like a trigger, yeah, a
the
negative
language
trigger.
triggers, but it's
Yeah.
physiological. Okay, I want people to understand that the symptoms of language trauma is very physiological. Sometimes, obviously, we don't realize it, but a
Mm-hmm.
language can cause physiological
Physiological,
reactions.
as in what way, Peter? Come on, break it down a little bit more. What are you saying,
Well,
like physiological?
Well, your body kind of gets
Rejects.
smaller. It
Rejects.
rejects. Very good.
Uh-huh.
Especially when you're listening to the language and the environment that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like your brain, instead of your brain absorbing, it's
It
rejecting.
blocks. It kind of
It blocks
blocks
it.
it.
Yeah, because it's protecting you, Bibi. Because when we've been through a language learning process
Mm-hmm.
and we've experienced a lot of pressure or a lot of I don't know, a lot of aggression. Aggression, obviously not
Expectations,
physical
maybe as
aggression.
well. But
Yeah,
expectations as
pressure.
well.
Yeah, maybe, I would say that a lot of culture shock is actually
Okay.
connected to language. And so culture shock is part of language trauma. Language trauma can also be one of the symptoms inside of the culture shock phenomenon.
So when a student tells you I have a block or I've been I hear this a lot. I've been learning English so long and I just
Hmm.
don't get it and I just don't learn it and I just don't understand it and you can hear that they don't like the language. Like
Yeah.
they're not happy with the language.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
would that be regarded as language trauma?
Yes, yes, and obviously the solution is not simple, Bibi. I mean, we're dealing with people. You're dealing each person. They have a different story. They have had a different experience. The language trauma is only a symptom, but what caused it can be diverse and varied based upon every individual. So it's really exploring that. I mean, a few things might be universal, it might not. So I'm not here to give quick solutions, but I think it's important for you to realize that.
Okay,
And
so you can't
especially,
fix the problem unless you know you have a problem, basically. So
true,
if you
true,
realize that you do have language trauma, then it's like, do you know the expression, half the battle won? Half the
exactly. It
battle
is
won. It's like when you
definitely.
understand what's wrong, it's like you're halfway there, basically,
Yeah,
right?
that's it. That's it. And because language is so deep, and I've mentioned that, you guys know,
Hmm.
from the other episodes that language just goes deep. It's really about identity and
Hmm.
emotional impulses and connection and how we carry ourselves socially. So
Hmm.
language really goes deep. So because it stems from that deep part within us, obviously the trauma is also quite deep. And that's why it's sometimes so hard to identify it, so hard to connect to it, and so hard to solve it
Okay,
and
I know
treat
you
it.
said there's no like quick fix or solution to it, but someone hearing this and they relating to it and they're saying, well, that's how I feel. Like, that's how I feel when I'm learning English. Like, no matter how much it's like a roller coaster, you know?
All right.
And
All right.
so, what's this? I know there's no quick fix, but where's the
Mm-hmm.
beginning point? Once you know, okay, I do have language trauma.
Okay, one
What's
technique that I
next?
that I use, there's a variety of techniques that I use, but one technique that I can, just, you can try, and it
Hmm.
has proven to be effective, is, when you are listening to a language,
Hmm.
instead of you trying to understand it. When we are, let's say, to take English as the prime example, you're connecting to podcasts, you're not understanding
Hmm.
it. You're listening to people, you're not understanding. You're watching a TV show in English, you're not understanding. You're putting subtitles, you're reading, but you're not understanding. It creates a lot of frustration. Your body
Hmm.
reacts. So what I tell people is you need to reprogram your body being in the environment of the language. And how can you do that? Okay, just being more practical, hands-on. What I one technique that I've given to my students is for them to do guided meditation in English.
No, come on. Are you talking about like
And
yoga in English? Like, is that what you're
kind of,
saying?
kind of do like
No, Peter,
mindful,
come on.
do mindful practices uh, to what you're doing or what you're associating the language with is relaxation. So reprogramming your body is first showing your body, look here, I don't need you to protect me because this
And just let
language,
it go, like kind of like
this
frozen, let it go. Let
this
the
language, yeah,
anxiety go, right?
this
Okay, so I
so this
kind of
language is like
understand.
it's like this language associate the language to something that provides relaxation. That's it.
Okay, no, give me a practical solution here because this is a problem I have with Spanish, right?
Guided
Learning
meditation.
Spanish.
Guided
No, but
meditation.
like how? Because when I'm listening to Spanish, right, I'm watching
Mm.
this series in Spanish, and all I can
But-
think about is that I understand zero of what
Okay.
is being said right now, and it's so
Okay.
frustrating because I'm
Okay.
learning Spanish, and I
Right.
think I know what's
Yeah.
when I'm learning Spanish, I understand it, and here they are talking like a mile a minute, right? Because that's the culture of this. The language is to talk very fast, and I just shut off,
But
and I
Bibi,
was
you
like,
see,
get
but
so frustrated.
Bibi, in the case of you learning Spanish, the first step, Bibi, is not comprehension. That's the big mistake. Is you
So
thinking,
it's
I
because I'm trying to
need to,
understand everything.
exactly, that's your big mistake. You're trying to understand it instead of trying to focus on your body. What is your body doing, or what is your body's state when you're listening to Spanish? We try to learn languages with our brain, and we forget
Hmm.
that our body is part of the learning process.
So I
So
need to be
when
like
I
in a very relaxed
am
environment.
breathing, exactly, breathing, relax. That's why I say guided meditation, because you're putting your body in a place that it's not, there's no pressure. Because
Okay, all right.
listening or trying to understand is pressure on
L-
your body.
Let me throw you another curveball. In a group class, you
Mm.
are not, you don't have the ability to meditate or take like It's easy. A teacher or someone in the class is asking you something in a second language and you have to answer. How do you break that trauma?
Language trauma will not be treated, solved, or improved in a class. A class treats learning. Language trauma is psychological.
So it's
If
just
you
going
do
to
not,
exasperate it, right? Exasperate it means makes it worse. It's just going to compound it.
possibly, 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 a class, if a person has language trauma, being in a class can
Hmm.
aggravate
Yeah,
because you're
exasperate it.
because you're
Exactly. Yeah.
because you're treating the pain with the wrong medicine.
Yeah. Peter, who knew you could be so clever? Like, who knew?
Maybe it's mostly experience, not clever. It's just experience of helping people, obviously. So you get a few things.
My
But
God,
that's
I can't. Once in a blue moon, right? We've done once in a blue moon. I hope the listeners remember this. Once in a blue moon, Peter really does surprise me. Like, I've guessed all the trauma he puts me through, and then, I put him on a pedestal, and then it doesn't last for long, but right now, just ride this wave of of like compliments.
I'll
It's not
I'll
gonna
enjoy
it's
it.
once in a blue
Okay,
moon,
I'll
but
enjoy
I'm
it.
quite surprised. Like really, it was really enlightening. It
Okay,
truly
so
was.
Bibi, specifically for you with Spanish, I would recommend you focus on your body and treat that language trauma and see how your body reacts when it's listening to Spanish. And don't put pressure on the body because the body will then try to protect you from the pain and the pressure.
It makes so much of sense. It's unbelievable. Like really. I'm still trying to grasp the fact that you saying all this, you know? It's like wow. Like really. Impressive.
All right. Well, that's it. That's it for
Right.
language
Let's
trauma.
wrap
I
this
hope
up,
I hope it helped.
right?
Okay. Thank you. On that note, bye bye, guys. All the best. Enjoy.